Every now and then in life, I feel like we're thrown a really great opportunity or we get really lucky. I think one factor in becoming successful in whatever you do is being able to spot those opportunities and making the correct decision. Today, we're going to be looking at someone who took a big gamble and hit. He basically walked into a Vegas casino, put all his money in a slot machine, dropped the lever, and 10x'd his money in a matter of about 4 months. Pro the Doge is his internet name, and I feel like he's been a great representation of the crypto bull run and mania that the markets have experienced in late 2020 and early 2021. He initially invested about $180,000 into Dogecoin when the coin was 4.5 cents. As Dogecoin went to the moon, his initial investment grew exponentially.
So you took $180,000, right?
Correct.
This was your life savings. You sold stocks, you borrowed money on margin, you maxed out your credit cards, and you just YOLO'd all that money into Dogecoin.
Correct.
I'm a big fan of taking huge risks. I personally think a lot of young people should take massive risks when they aren't married or have kids like this guy did. You only really need one big win in life. Everyone's win looks different. My big win was YouTube taking off. My YouTube success is going to turn into a nice real estate portfolio and possibly some other investments that will pay off big. Pro the Doge's big win was Dogecoin taking off. Investing becomes a lot easier as you have more money to play with. And it's not common that an investment turns $180,000 into $2 million. You probably only get one of those wins in your life if you're lucky.
And you've got an overall return of all-time 822%.
Yeah.
That's insane, dude.
My return is $1,115,000.
Because on my channel, I make a lot of videos about fake gurus, why athletes go broke, and reacting to get-rich-quick schemes, but at the center of the content is the psychology around money, financing, and investing. I think Pro the Doge's investment gives us some really interesting insights into a get-rich-quick scheme that actually worked and paid off. Very few people ever have the opportunity to invest their money into something where the return is life-changing and it happens in a matter of a couple of months.
Here's the thing, the way I think most people see this is like, this guy just won the lottery, right? And when people ask you, what are you gonna do with this money? Are you gonna cash it out? Are you gonna reinvest? Like, what are you gonna do with it? You say that you're just gonna keep it in until it's $10 million, which is like, yes, for most people, the equivalent of saying, I won the lottery and I'm gonna put this money to buying more lottery tickets.
Let's look at the crypto market today. You see a lot of these coins down 15, 20, 25% in the last 7 days. Buying altcoins during a mania phase is like going to a casino and gambling, just as Andrei mentioned. A couple of people are going to hit and a lot are going to be disappointed. Dogecoin rose to 70 cents a coin in just a couple of weeks, but is down around 70% since, with no signs of it ever reaching those heights again. Playing the lottery is fun when you win, but putting money back into the lottery is like, by miracle, hooking up with the hottest bartender in your city and then trying to have a threesome with her best friend. Sometimes you gotta be careful with pushing your luck a little too far in life. Up until yesterday, I had been a millionaire. This 33-year-old Dogecoin investor refuses to sell despite losing over $167,000 in one day. I'm making this video because I saw this blog post and thought it would make for an interesting video. I dislike when people say they lost $167,000 in a single day because he didn't lose money, he lost profit. There's a huge difference. In just a minute, I will discuss the psychological elements happening with someone who made a couple million in like 3 months, but I also thought I could share my opinion since I've actually lost money and know the difference between losing money and losing profit.
How much of it was skill and how much of it was actual luck?
I consider it being a calculated risk. 10% was luck and 90% was me strategizing, researching, looking at all of the pros and cons, like what could possibly go wrong.
Let's be real, it was 100% luck for nearly anyone making a bunch of money from YOLOing into an altcoin. There's no calculated risk with gambling blindly, it's full risk. It did pay off, so he can justify the decisions, but many people made the same decisions on other coins that didn't take off.
With Doge, it's like volatile, but it'll get to a place that it stabilizes. So I feel like once it's over $1, maybe $1.50, the amount that it goes up is going to gradually go, and then the amount that it goes down will be gradual, and it'll go up and it'll be down, but it'll eventually keep going up.
What I've really enjoyed seeing from the sidelines of the crypto world is the justifications that people use for why certain coins behave the way they do. The coin just goes up and down, but over time it will be worth more than when I bought it. Okay, so what's the utility, or how are people going to use it? Well, you know, in a couple years they plan on possibly doing something and developers are being interviewed and yeah, it's gonna go up. In a bull run, everyone looks like a genius because the market bails you out for bad decisions. What I find most interesting when the market tanks, like Dogecoin being down 60 to 70% from the previous highs, is listening to the justifications for why the market tanked and why the coin isn't back up to all-time highs again.
I consider Doge like cash money. Like when I go to the store, I'm gonna buy something with cash. We all have money and we all buy things with small bits and amounts of money. With Doge, that's gonna be pretty much the same thing. We're able to go buy a t-shirt with some Doge or buy some pants or buy a hat or whatever you wanna do. It'll be like a daily transactional thing.
The problem the crypto coins like Dogecoin face right now is they are nowhere close to being used as an actual currency as he's talking about here. You simply cannot run a business where the capital you receive for providing a service or good could fluctuate by 5 to 10% in a single day, or 25% in a week like it is right now. A lot of businesses run on tight margins, and if the money they receive from customers drops 5% after the transaction and stays down 5% until the coins can be deposited, then the business can't operate. A lot of businesses wouldn't be able to meet payroll or pay the lease if the currency was super volatile.
What would happen if Dogecoin drops back down to 4 cents and you're left with $180,000 again, and you might potentially not see $1 million for a couple decades?
That's not gonna happen. It's never gonna go back to 4 cents.
Okay. This is a great question by Andrei. Investments like crypto altcoins carry a lot of unforeseen risk that is not obvious to us today. A common term for this is a black swan event. I think a more appropriate idea is simply that a lot of these altcoins just don't have any utility and aren't capable of certain unforeseen risk, such as an entire country banning the coins or new coins being created with better tech.
Obviously there's seasons, right, in crypto, right? There's times when it goes dormant or it goes down for a period of time. Like as far as Doge going back down, I feel like the lowest, let's say it drops down, right? I feel like the lowest Doge will ever go will be 15 cents.
Funny enough, the value of Dogecoin is almost irrelevant if he doesn't plan on selling until his portfolio hits $10 million. The difference between 15 cents a coin and 70 cents a coin is negligible if he plans on holding until the coin reaches $2.50. He just needs to hold until his threshold is met. I have a lot of respect for this guy. He made life-changing money and decided not to sell because he believes in Dogecoin enough to stick with it. This is not easy to do, by the way. The problem that the Doge is going to face is that he's never going to be able to sell, and here's why. If he hasn't sold by now, then he will not sell until either one of two things happen. A, he needs the money because of an emergency in his personal life, or B, the coin hits $2.50 or whatever and he's able to walk away with a $10 million profit. If he didn't sell when he had over $2 million, then he won't sell if the coin fluctuates its way up enough so that he has, let's say, $1.5 million. He'll justify in his mind that it is going to continue going up until it surpasses its previous high, and he'll hold until that happens. The human mind is fascinating on how we justify our decisions.
So let's say it goes back to 15 cents, I still 5x'd my money, and I'm still in a better position than I would be in the stock market. In Dogecoin, I 5x'd it in 2 months. No, more than 5x'd it in 2 months. But I'm saying if it crashes back down, I don't see it going below 15 cents.
He's definitely right about his investment. It has worked out for him so far. My concern for investors like the Doge is that he's never going to take his profits, and this is the most important thing to remember, the risk is still there. Is the entire stock market going to tank to zero? No. Can Dogecoin? Maybe. It's certainly more volatile than the stock market, with the downside being a potential to hit zero.
You said that you wanted to hold your investment until it's worth $10 million,
Correct.
Which like to me seems like a dude who won the lottery who's going to spend that money towards more lottery. But okay, what makes you think that Dogecoin will go to 250?
This is where I have a lot of respect for the Dogecoin millionaire. He has principles to stand on and won't deviate from his plan at all. He doesn't want $5 million, he wants $10 million and will not sell until that threshold is hit. I have nothing but respect for that. The problem is that we as humans will sometimes justify ourselves out of the best decision possible to stick to some principle we made up. My concern for this guy is that Dogecoin will never reach the number he's wanting it to reach, and he holds the coin for 10 years. I'm not even convinced it will be around in 10 years. This next video is another Andrei Jikh video. Thanks Andrei for the great content. They meet up with Graham Stephan, which is really interesting in hindsight because I think Graham nailed it with his advice.
We gotta see it. We need an update.
I almost doubled my money.
$2,178,79,066.
Diamond hands, baby.
Can you imagine flipping $188,000 into $2 million in a couple of months? That's winning the lottery. This guy has built a really solid brand around being a Dogecoin millionaire and being the social media face for the rise of Dogecoin. What's going to be really difficult for him is that he's now identified as the Dogecoin millionaire. It's his brand and identity. By selling Dogecoin, he will be selling off a piece of his identity. This is a fascinating concept, so I hope it makes sense. Once you build up an identity of yourself in your mind, it's incredibly difficult to change. This is why using labels on yourself can be very inhibiting and not allow you to see outside of your echo chamber. Once you identify as XYZ, trying to become a new version of yourself, let's call it WXYZ, can be challenging. What Pro the Doge is going to be confronted with at some point is a battle between real-life actions and his identity. Think about it, he's built up a brand of being the Dogecoin millionaire. It's his social media, it's how he's on the news, it's how he gets to hang with Graham Stephan and Andrei Jikh. By selling, he will be removing the identity he's built, which psychologically is incredibly difficult to do.
To me, this is like we're in Las Vegas. You went to a casino and you put all your money on the roulette table and you happen to win. That doesn't make it a good investment. That doesn't mean that like, wow, it worked. Let me keep doing it.
Graham knows it was a once-in-a-lifetime gamble that paid off. I love that he is keeping his Dogecoin because it's interesting content, and every time I check the price of Dogecoin, his portfolio comes to mind. Great job with the personal branding.
You would consider this life-changing, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So why risk it? My thing, you've already won the game. You beat the game. There's very little difference in between, making $2.3 million and 2.7. $3 million. There's not really a big difference between that.
To go a step further, there's very little difference between $2 million and $10 million. I know, it sounds like a huge difference. Just talking about having your needs met, there isn't a difference. At $2 million, you're good. You can move to a reasonable cost of living city and have all of your needs met for the rest of your life. The difference between $2 million and $10 million becomes just a matter of nicer consumer consumption, but all needs are met at both levels. This video is definitely not me trying to tell him how to live his life. I'm sure he gets a lot of joy out of the Dogecoin experiment, and it's probably a fun game for him to play. A reason to get out of bed in the morning.
My argument here is that we're going to the moon and it's gonna hit $1. Elon Musk is gonna be on Saturday Night Live this Saturday.
This is really interesting to watch in hindsight, knowing what happened in the weeks following this video. The real answer is it has become his identity and brand to hold Dogecoin. If he sold, then he'd be battling against his own beliefs, which is basically impossible to do. Will Dogecoin ever hit $1? I don't know. It will be the great mystery of the next couple of years. Real question, if you had to bet on one of two options, in 2023, Dogecoin will either be $1 a coin or 10 cents a coin, which would you put your money on?
But don't you think it's gonna dump?
If it dumps, it might dump by 10%.
10%?
You think 10%? So it's gonna hit $1 and then dip to 90.
It'll hit $1 and dip to like 60, which is still higher.
My thing is, if he doesn't mention it, it's gonna drop way more than 10%.
But
because people's expectation.
Yeah.
You're
He's
so
gonna
sure?
mention
You think
it.
he's gonna?
Dogecoin definitely dropped by more than 10%. What really happened was the smart money realized a lot of dumb money was trying to buy in on the mania and were going to push for $1. The smart money got out ahead of the tsunami of selling action, and the coin tanked with a lot of people holding the bag. I just love the conversations surrounding Cryptomania. See, there's this guy who talks about a coin on Twitter. He's going to appear on SNL, and if he talks about this coin, then people are going to react a certain way, causing the coin to do certain things. This is not investing, my friends. This is pure speculation off of a Saturday Night Live event. Can you imagine a large company stock being tied to like Sunday Night Football? See, if Tom Brady throws for a touchdown in the second quarter, then the stock is going to increase.
If he doesn't, that's it. Everyone, all the excitement's leading up. Jack says the same thing. Jack's like, it's gonna hit $1 and I'm like, everyone says that.
But you want to?
Graham nailed it because he's generally a pretty conservative investor. He saw a grand slam gamble and was like, sell, sell, sell while you can. The funny thing about Dogecoin is that everyone was in on the same game, thinking they were going to outsmart the other person. I'm going to hold until it hits $1 and then I'm going to sell. Yeah, every single person who put money into Doge to help it get to 70 cents had the exact same strategy. This is a greater full investment where you're just hoping that you're the first one to jump off the rug before it gets pulled out from underneath you.
So why are we talking about selling? You said you don't want to ever sell, right?
Facts. No, I do want to sell.
Why?
When I hit 10 million.
But why?
But I want to sell 10%
The
to
point
live
is-
off of
but the
it
point
and keep
is-
the other 9 million in there because that's how much I believe in it.
Yeah, but the point is to use it. That's the whole argument. You're
I'll
saying I
use-
want to use it.
Yeah, I'll use the 10%. I'll use $1 million to live.
with Doge though? Why do you want to convert it to the dollar?
So I can buy a house.
One of the best games to play in life is where a friend asks you why repeatedly because you get to the core of your wants and needs. I really hope this guy isn't holding out for $10 million so he can siphon off $1 million just to buy a house. If that's his real reason, then he was already given the opportunity. He had over $2 million in Doge. If he sells when Graham told him to, he walks with probably $1 million after taxes. If I had that windfall, I would buy two $500,000 houses here in Vegas. I know just the area. Rent by the room would net about $3,000 per month per house. That's life-changing money. Around $6,000 per month net would surpass his current income, meaning he'd be able to invest more into Doge every month than he does now while having a safety net for the rest of his life. And he'd own 2 homes, not just one.
How would you feel if that were in a month from now worth 300 grand?
I mean,
How would you feel?
a few days ago, Andrei told me to sell when I was at 1.2.
Yes.
Now we're at 2.
But that doesn't make it right.
This is the joy of investing in a mania. When you feel like the investment is going to double by next week, why would you sell now? Manias are powerful because it feels like you can't lose and your decisions will pay off. Well, what happens when the investment drops 50% the next week? What makes short-term investing, like investing in crypto, so difficult is managing emotions. This guy had a winning lottery ticket and held it out of principle. Still, Contasato remains bullish on Dogecoin even though he isn't currently a Dogecoin millionaire on paper. When I went into this Dogecoin investment, I planned on being in it for at least a year, he says. I put in my life savings because I knew I would eventually become a millionaire. Now he plans to hold the currency for much longer than a year. Whatever happens in the short term doesn't matter to me because I'm looking to hodl Dogecoin for years to come. I'm truly not worried at the end of the day. This is why I have a lot of respect for him. He believes in something and is sticking with his plan, even though I don't think it's the right financial decision. The reason why I think most people should not be investing in crypto is I think there are better alternatives. Crypto is great if you have cash sitting in the bank and want to have a little fun with a riskier investment, but seeing stories of millennials buying altcoins with the only money they have, thinking it will make them rich, is disappointing.
Right.
Like, that's like you playing blackjack. You winning a hand. We're like, all right, let's go. You're like, no, let me do it again. You put it back in. You win another hand. It doesn't mean that you keep playing the hand.
Okay.
I would sell in a heartbeat.
Graham timed it perfectly. Imagine looking at your phone and knowing that you are a couple of clicks away from turning $188,000 into $2.3 million. Just 2 clicks away. But for Contasato, volatility comes with the territory, and if you can't stomach the fluctuations, then maybe you're not cut out for crypto. Dogecoin is currently trading at around 19 cents according to CoinMarketCap, with a market value of over $24 billion. From an outsider's perspective, investing in a coin that basically relies on the news and whether or not people have enough cash to YOLO into an altcoin doesn't seem fun to me. I wouldn't be able to stomach the up and down swings personally, so more respect to him for being able to. My final point for this video is that losing money hurts way more than an increase in profits. I lost all of my money with a couple house flips gone wrong, and I can tell you that the pain of losing significant amounts of money is way more damaging than missing out on any increase in gains. Pro the Doge hasn't necessarily lost money, but his portfolio is down to around $800,000. He's claimed to have put $250,000 in, so he's up around 320%. Great investment if he cashed out now, but a far cry from the $2.3 million he had when hanging with Graham and Andrei. I'm glad he shows his portfolio and talks about the ups and downs to media outlets. It's going to be really interesting to track his portfolio over the next few years as Dogecoin either remains super volatile or stabilizes a little more. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.